Winston Churchill is one of history's most well-known prime ministers and journalists. He served as prime minister twice. First, during the tumultuous times of World War II, lifting spirits and leading Britain to victory. In his second term as prime minister, Churchill introduced fundamental domestic reforms. Few may name Churchill as one of the top scientists of all time, but he was indeed also a scientist. To his credit, Churchill modernized the British Navy and invented a tank. Churchill was born November 30th, 1874, and grew up in Dublin, Ireland. His family had a considerable amount of money. He is descended from a line of politicians. His mother was American, a New York socialite, and his father was British. One day, Churchill would be known for his speeches, but suffered a speech impediment in his childhood that he never quite overcame, even in adulthood. He was passionate about his views, though not always confident. This made him a great speaker with the proper preparation. He was not known for speeches given at random. The words he spoke were well thought out, and part of that inclination was built as a child. He was said to have a certain boyish charm, which served him well. Churchill's early years were not the happiest. He was something of a sad and lonely child. Although Churchill had a strong spirit that would serve him well later in life as a leader, he did not do well in school. He hated school and was said to be a rather naughty child. Rather than attend Cambridge or Oxford, as someone of his standing would most likely be expected to do, he was sent to a boarding school and then entered into a military career. It was a shaky start for Churchill in the military. It took him 3 tries to pass the exam to enter the Royal Military College. After a bit of floundering, the military career suited him. In 1895, he entered the 4th Hussars. Churchill began to travel around Britain as a soldier and journalist. While serving, he wrote military reports for newspapers The Pioneer and the Daily Telegraph, and 2 books based on his travels and the things he had seen: The Story of the Malacan Field Force, 1898, and The River War, 1899. Churchill's years with the Army were brief, but full of adventure. Churchill's next adventure began in 1899, when he started work as a war correspondent for the Morning Post, a conservative newspaper, and began to further his interests in politics. He rose to fame after he was taken prisoner by the Boers while reporting on the Boer War in South Africa. His 300-mile escape caught the attention of the nation, in particular his daring getaway through a bathroom window. Once safe again, Churchill penned the book London to Ladysmith in 1900. A greater interest in politics soon took hold, and Churchill joined the Conservative Party in Oldham, also in 1900. He quickly became discontented with the Conservative Party and switched to the Liberal Party in 1904. He was then elected to Parliament in 1908 and served on the Prime Minister's cabinet. His position was Board of Trade, a matter of great interest to Churchill. Social reforms were of great interest to Churchill. During the early 1900s, he tackled issues such as the 8-hour workday, a government-mandated minimum wage, a state-run labor exchange for unemployed workers, and a system of public health insurance. The tides would soon turn for Churchill, however, as World War I drew near, and his focus would turn to more global issues. In 1908, the same year he was elected to Parliament, Winston Churchill married Clementine Hozier, who was reputed to be very beautiful. Churchill's early life may not have been very happy or fulfilling, but his marriage to Clementine was both. His political career would prove to have its challenges, and his marriage to Clementine served as an anchor. A year later, in 1909, Churchill became president of the Budget League. His work fighting for social reforms had led to increased taxes, and he found himself battling many members of his peer class. He was called a traitor. In early 1911, Churchill became involved in a police scandal. Churchill allegedly arrived upon the scene of a burglary, along with the police force in London, in which the house caught fire. Churchill ordered that the house burn down rather than the fire be put out, with the robbers burning to death inside of it. The extent of Churchill's involvement is not known, but it is known that he blocked the fire brigade from saving the burning building and the two men inside.